Hi guys, I'm going to move on to my upper middle notes, or very plainly, my middle notes. Continue now. Actually, these ones are in between middle and top notes. So I have citranellol, which smells like a very fresh sort of rose. It's kind of like the top notes of rose, and rose essential oil has a lot of citranellol molecule in it. And this is the citranellol synthetic. I also have geranium, Egyptian geranium, which could be classified as a middle note, between a middle note and a top note. It's a spicy, more round, sweeter type rose than citranellol. And it shares some characteristics with ylang ylang, in that it's quite gummy and sweet. Next, I have Damascone beta, which smells like plums, maybe some wine, general fruity sort of scents here. And I'll go on to my middle notes, kind of true middle notes. So I have lavender and lavender essential and lavender absolute. So this is lavender essential oil, and I have lavender absolute. I definitely prefer lavender absolute over lavender oil, because lavender absolute is definitely a middle note, lasts quite a long time, lasts longer than the lavender oil. Plus, it's more round, it's warmer, and it smells like the entire plant. So I think this absolute is a very realistic portrayal of what lavender herbs actually smell like. It's very natural smelling, whereas the lavender essential oil is more spiky, more thin, and less naturalistic smelling. Okay, next I have cinnamon, which is a spice. Cinnamon sticks are also used in incense, and when you pick up cinnamon, make sure it actually says cinnamon, because there's cinnamon and there's fake cinnamon. And I'd say it's better to use the real cinnamon. So this is cinnamon leaf oil. It has a huge impact. Dilute it and use just a little bit. It's similar to pepper. You only need a little bit to go a long way. Similar to rosemary too. Rosemary, cinnamon, and pepper should all be used very sparingly. Oh yeah, and cis-3-hexanol too. This one is a phenyl ethyl alcohol, which is another rose alcohol, and it smells more like the middle towards base notes of a rose. It's lighter. It's lighter than citranellol. So citranellol has these fleeting sort of top notes, almost like lemon-like top notes that come off very quickly. And rose alcohol has a deeper sort of mid-tone rose scent. It's almost like a satiny rose to it. Next we have Velvettone, which is a great musk. This is probably the first musk I introduced. It's a middle note, but it definitely lasts for quite a while. Velvettone, along with the ionones, so methyl ionone or alpha or beta ionone, they all give this sort of iris or orris root powder aspect to perfumes. So perfumers use things like Velvettone, or methyl ionone or alpha ionone or beta ionone, which all smell slightly different from each other, to give a nice, smooth, satin, very soft, pillow-like texture to perfumes. You only need a little bit of this stuff to really make a powdery sort of scent. Next I have hydrocitronellol, which smells like a very, very clean linalool. It's somewhere between a lemon and a rose, and it's very clean smelling. I don't want to say that it smells like a laundry soap or anything like that, but It has this very clean scent. It smells like Lily of the Valley, actually. It's a very light floral. It's a very light floral. Speaking of Lily of the Valley, we have a Mugue Accord. It's a pre-made accord. It's a pre-constructed flower scent, and it smells like a fresh, light Lily of the Valley, somewhat. Whenever you buy pre-constructed flower accords, most places aren't going to have them made for you exactly very, very realistic to the real thing. So you probably have to end up using a pre-bought flower accord plus many, many, many other things, many other natural ingredients and synthetic ingredients to create yourself a realistic flower perfume rendition of a flower. Okay, just because you buy a flower accord or a rose accord or something, it's not going to smell exactly like a rose or a lily of the valley. Next, we have a Geranyl Acetate, which smells. It's slightly eugenol. It has a geranium, light geranium, acidic type scent. Again, it smells slightly rosy. It's light and it's used as a blender. So you'll notice that there's quite a few synthetic flower scents with very low impact. And these materials are used to blend different elements together, mostly to blend flower essential oils with citrus essential oils, and then in between you have these synthetic blenders. Which are usually linalool, which will reach down from the citrus, and then something like geranyl acetate or citranellol, and which will reach up from the flower base. And so these are kind of like the connectors. That's geranyl acetate, it's a connector. Rose alcohol, phenylethyl alcohol is a connector or blender between flowers and citrus. This is Methyl Ionone Gamma 70, which is another powder. This one smells more woody than the other Ionone powder. Next, I have Alpha Ionone, which again is an Ionone powder. This one smells sweeter and more floral, right? Next up, I have something called Berryflor, and it smells just like well, it's too close. It's very, very light, and I should dilute it to actually. It sounds strange, but sometimes when you dilute something, even though it's light, when you dilute it to 10%, you can smell it better than at 100%. This is very common for synthetic or synthetic perfume aerochemicals and essential oils. You usually want to dilute it to 10-15%, between 5 and 15%, and you will find that you can actually smell the different facets of the essential oil or the aerochemical. They sort of come out and you're able to pick them apart. But I digress. Berryflor is from Givaudan, which is a perfume aerochemical company, and this smells just like all sorts of different berries and jams. It's just got a very nice sort of sweet. It's used to introduce sweets. It's used to blend flowers with citruses or with spices. It's very low impact, and it's an alternative to, say, vanilla. Let's say you always use vanilla to make your perfume smell sweet. Well, you can give a berry sweet instead of a vanillic sweet. Next, I have Litsea Cubeba, which is actually It's basically a lemon scent, but it lasts much longer than lemon. So it helps extend citrus scents down in towards floral scents. Next, I have anise, and anise is basically a kind of black licorice smell. There are many things that smell anisic. For example, sweet fennel smells very anisic. It also has this black licorice, chocolatey, sort of edible type scent. Even patchouli has a small anisic scent to it. So that's anise, and use a little bit of it at a time. Next, we have sweet basil, which is also somewhat anisic, but it has this fresh green leaf sort of smell. So sweet basil is somewhere in between anise, star anise with a black licorice, and for example, 6,3-hexanol, which is a pure green leaf. So it smells just like Italian cooking, like basil leaves. Wonderful stuff. A quick tip, you can mix, for example, 40 drops of cedar Virginia with 1 drop of sweet basil, and the green from the basil will give a nice texture to the wood, give more texture to cedar wood. Next, last but of course the very, very not least, I come to these monsters called aldehydes. And I actually keep them in a bottle inside of a bottle, so double wrapped. So they're very, 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 very powerful. You need to use them at like 0.1% in your perfumes, and only 1 or 2 drops of each, maybe. An aldehyde smells like fizzy pop. So it smells like fizzy Sprite, like when you first open a Sprite, and you get this whiff of citrus and bubbles and this sort of effervescence. So aldehydes, these guys right here, these very powerful aerochemicals, they bring a kind of bright explosiveness to the start of any perfume. Chanel number 5 is really famous for using lots of aldehydes. So if you spray it on your skin, you'll smell it. Aldehydes go great with citrus top notes, and they go great with white flowers. They're typically used in feminine, gorgeous, sort of feminine scents. Something a lady would wear, or a gentleman would wear at nighttime before they go out to party, right? These guys are like party monsters, okay? Aldehydes, fizzy, poppy. They range from green leaf smells to orangey smells to generic sort of citrus smells, and they're amazing stuff. Next up, I have something called carrot seed, which smells like, carrot seed smells like you took a potato, you cut it in half, you opened up the potato, and you stuck your nose to the potato, and you've got this flat, chalky, earthy, slightly spicy smell. This is what carrot seed smells like. It's not actually made from the seeds of a carrot, it's just the carrot seed plant. Carrot seed is extremely, extremely strong. Along with rosemary, along with 3,6-hexanol 3,6, along with the aldehydes, carrot seed needs to be used in very minuscule amounts, and it also gives your perfume a really nice powdery finish, and slightly spicy. You use these ionones instead of carrot seed when you want to introduce a powdery texture without any spice. But if you don't mind adding some powdery incense, sort of powdery texture to your perfume, and you don't mind this some spice to it, for example, if you were creating a incense perfume, you can always use carrot seed.